Thank y'all for being here. So this is actually StoneHeads TV. Why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves for the people who don't know us?
What's up, guys? I'm Val, aka the Female Flame, aka the Love of Your Life.
What's up? It's your boy Frank here on the laptop, just working it, keeping it real.
And I am John. I'm actually the biggest sweetheart y'all will ever meet. And I just want to let y'all know, y'all gotta learn today.
Yes, sir.
So why don't we go ahead and kind of break down for the audience what the StoneHeads is. Let's tell them the story, what we stand for, and how we got here today.
Yeah.
So Frank, you were there. You're part of the StoneHeads. I mean, let's tell the people how we started. Well, what's your take on it? What do you remember?
Well, how I remember it, bro, we was like a group of us, bunch of little potheads. We made a group chat that said our school name and then potheads, I'm not gonna say what. And then eventually it just got to the point where someone one day changed it to StoneHeads. And from then on it just stuck. We became those guys.
We became the StoneHeads. We weren't just any stoners. We weren't just the potheads. Like, we were the StoneHeads.
Yeah.
And I remember every time we'd get together, you know, all the StoneHeads would get together. We just kind of embraced the name pretty much. And being part of, I mean, we're pretty well-rounded when it comes to smoking and marijuana and stuff. We know a bunch of brands, a bunch of details, strains, whatever, right? So we came to start thinking, wow, like, StoneHeads is a dope name. We were wondering how come no one else in the community and in the industry hasn't already taken off with that name. And we started thinking about business plans, we started thinking about ideas, possibilities, and we just kind of thought, if no one else is going to run with this, no one else has done it yet, why can't we be that person? Why can't we be the StoneHeads, you know? I mean, we are the StoneHeads, let's make this our thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So then we start coming around with business ideas, thinking, oh, maybe we can start making our own line of glass and bongs and stuff, having our own rolling papers. I remember we were talking about having our own strain, which is still a big
in the works.
Yeah, in the works. But like, these were just kind of ideas that were being thrown around while we were, you know, smoking pretty much together.
Yeah.
Today, you know, we actually have some things actually happening now. And the way we got there is, instead of just talking about all these possibilities, we decided, hey, you know what?
Why don't we chase this shit? Like,
let's actually chase this. Let's make this happen. We don't want this to slip out of our hands and someone else beat us to the punch. So now we're actually here, actually doing it. And some of the things that we've gotten started on is, well, this podcast, for one. This is the first thing that we've gotten started. And the reason we got started with this podcast first is because we decided, look, if we decide to start with anything else, it's going to be difficult for us to get ourselves out there. It's going to be difficult for us to find people that will support us right off the bat. You know what I mean? So what we were discussing, what can we do to where we can get people to hop on the wave and understand what StoneHeads is instead of just buying it just because, you know what I mean? So we decided the podcast was the way to go. Yeah. And of course, we can go into the podcast in a minute here, but some other things that we want to get started on is, of course, having merch here soon, and hopefully having our own line of CBD products later on in the future. But
some hoodies.
Some hoodies, yeah, all the merch. I'm excited for merch, honestly.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I'm not gonna drop any deets, but definitely coming soon.
It's gonna be fun.
Merch coming soon. But other than that, like, the StoneHeads, being a StoneHead, I wanted to mean something, you know. So we were also discussing, how can we get it to where StoneHeads is not just a brand, it's not just a logo. How can we make it to where StoneHeads is actually meaningful and a movement, you know?
Well, like, it already has a meaning, but you want to, like, give them a meaning?
Yeah, well, okay, so right now, you're talking about Urban Dictionary, right?
Yeah, this one.
So if you look up right now on the StoneHeads, under Urban Dictionary, what StoneHeads mean, this is literally what it says. It says, a mix between a stoner and a pothead. A stonehead is a rare breed that has resulted from being a stoner with many pothead friends. a stonehead is usually aware of the name of what they smoke, but not what it is. So I can tell you right now, we always knew what we were smoking, and we knew what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we were pretty educated. That's why, you know, the word stonehead stuck with us, because it's true. We were stoners with a bunch of pothead friends. Every time we got together, there was at least like 9 of us.
I think that with that definition, there's like a sort of like a negative
context
connotation behind it. You know what I mean?
Behind smoking in general, there's such like a negative connotation behind it. There's still a stigmatism. Not stigmatism. What's that word mean? The stigma, right? That's what it is. It's a stigma.
Yeah, just like this little.
There's a bad stigma with
like ligma.
with smoking in general. But
I see what you mean.
what I want is for stoneheads to not be viewed like that. So what we decided is how can we represent the brand to where it's
a positive movement.
A positive movement, exactly. So some of the things that I know I'm working on right now is like finishing a degree. You know, I'm not saying that most people who smoke, you know, marijuana don't finish a degree, but just to be able to say, look, like, I smoke and I did this. You can't tell me that I'm just some lazy stoner pothead, whatever, that sits around doing nothing, that doesn't have a job. Like, I have a lot of things going. I mean, I'm starting a business, you know, like, I'm a stonehead with a business. I'm not just some lazy, unproductive individual, and that's what I want people to realize is you can do these things and enjoy yourself, but also not be this negative thing that everyone says you have to be, you know?
Yeah, and also, like, it helps people, bro. Like, everyone looks at it so negatively, like, that they can't see the benefits to it, like the health benefits, like, physically and mentally, bro. Yeah,
so that's exactly what we're trying to push is to be successful, a successful stonehead, and, you know, to help yourself, really. You're gonna do these things because maybe you need it, or maybe it's helping you in some way, or just because you like it. You know, whatever it is, to each their own. You know, but you know, responsible use, of course, is what we're for, and just the fact that you can be successful overall. That's really what our movement is.
For sure.
But other than that, that's pretty much what StoneHeads is right now. That's what we are now. That's what we're trying to brand, is that movement right now.
And what are you trying to do with the show?
So the podcast right now, this is the first thing that's going on. Like I said, we are trying to reach people. I plan to, in the future, of course, I want to have different people on the show.
Successful.
I want to have successful people that already started their own business, people that maybe smoke and have good stories to share with people that are like-minded, business-wise, money-wise, health-wise. I want, not just for myself, but for the people who listen to this to learn something when they listen to StoneHeads TV. I want to be able to reach the community as well, because we were kind of discussing how, yes, there has been some things to come out of our area, but in our generation, what is going to be the thing from our generation that makes it out of our area? You know what I'm saying? I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty sure other people might be able to say something off the top of their head, but I can't even think of something popular that came out of our area.
Yeah.
You know, so I honestly believe in the future of the StoneHeads, and I know that by starting this podcast and helping people, it's just going to not only help us, but help other people, and we're going to be able to say, hey, you know what, like, it was kind of because of us that we helped other people or whatnot, and maybe we'll make it out of here. You never know.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan.
But podcast-wise, yeah, like, just having guests on, what else do we have here? Having guests on, creating relationships with people, and most importantly, like, just having fun. I am a big fan of podcasts myself, so being able to actually start one is kind of surreal. It's exciting. I'm excited for what these future conversations are going to be like. So, just so everyone knows, at the end of these podcasts, or these shows, whatever, these conversations, we would like to have a little segment where we have the viewers send us questions so that we can talk about them with the next guest or, you know, what have you. So if you guys are interested in being on the show, getting shout out, you know, or staying anonymous, you guys just let us know. Go ahead and shoot us an email at officialstoneheads@gmail.com. And we'll go ahead and shout y'all out, and it's going to be an interactive community, you know, show pretty much.
Yeah.
So now that we kind of got our intro out of the way, people know what StoneHeads is and know what to look forward to in the future. Let's go ahead and just hop into some different topics that we can talk about so that, you know, the audience can get a feel of what this is going to be like in the future. Since this is technically episode 0, you know, we were talking about how we're the guests today.
Yeah.
Later on, we're going to have different guests on the show, but today, the actual StoneHeads is the guest on the show today. So let's just pick at each other's brains and get to share some knowledge with the viewers.
Yeah.
Alright, so first thing we're going to hop right into is mindset. So, Val, what do you have to say about mindset?
I think mindset is an asset. It's something that you need to take care of. It's something that if you don't have that locked down, it resolves back to everything. So I feel like it's very important to get that in shape more than anything else. I think that's what's made a lot of people successful, especially being told no a lot. That gets to you. So it's just persevering through that and knowing that you can't be stopped. But it all comes back to your temple, for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think, Frank?
Honestly, man, you just have to stay positive no matter what like happens. There's always good to everything, you know. Glass is half full. That's the way I like to see it, you know. There's some positive to everything. Like even when you're losing, you're winning. You're gaining knowledge. Like losing helps you. Like you learn lessons. Everything that you learn from losing is more than you'll gain from winning. You know, like if you're just constantly winning, like getting like everything that you want, like taking an L is just gonna be hard for you. But if you like take a few L's here and there, you'll learn from it.
Yeah, I think people will, even me, you know, sometimes we're afraid of losing. Sometimes we're afraid of failure. But in reality, failure is what you make. I mean, only you can determine when you fail. If something doesn't work out the first time, it's just a learning opportunity. You get the chance to do it again and do it differently. There shouldn't really be a reason for people, or for ourselves for that matter, to take failure as an option. You know, just get back up and do it again. And I feel that now having the mindset like that, because I mean that's pretty much how I think now. You know, I'm not really afraid of failure like that anymore, because I know in my head I didn't fail. It's just I get another chance to do it again a different way. So having that mentality, that mindset has definitely helped me a lot, because look what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't expect anything crazy to happen off of this, but I mean, I don't
You
really
don't
care,
know
because I know, first of all, we will never know what will happen if we don't even try.
I just feel like a lot of people that are watching, they don't know how, like, this is an uncomfortable situation.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people, they just think that people throw out concepts or ideas or, you know, their art. It takes courage to do that, because you put it out there and you don't know what people are going to say. You're going to handle the criticism.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it goes back to mindset. You take everything with a grain of salt, you know. It's just, we're just like stacking up the good. That's what we're doing, and until we get the dub, which is success.
Exactly. And I mean, eventually everyone can reach that dub. You know, success is not unreachable for everybody. I, you know, kind of talking back about mindset, like a different viewpoint, is just having the mentality to just do it. You know, because yes, you can be scared of failure. Yes, you can be scared to just start something. But if you just tell yourself, just do it. You know, do something like anything. It doesn't even matter what it is. Maybe you're uncomfortable with going to the gym, you know, after a long time.
I used to be.
Or maybe you're uncomfortable with hanging with a new group of friends, or like going to a new place to hang out, you know, whatever. just have that mindset where like you don't let yourself think like that. Just say, just do it. Like, what's the worst? If you don't like it, then you don't like it. You know, you don't have to go back. But you never know if you don't just do it.
Exactly.
And
our the thing is that our brains are wired to where they help us to survive. So if you see something that's risky and you're hesitant on it, that's like your brain talking you out of doing it. So actually, you are in your own way of success because you're letting your brain tell you like, no, don't do that. Because your brain's trying to keep you safe, away from harm. You know what I mean? And it knows that there's harm there because you could fail from that type of thing. You know what I mean? So I think that just count down. Like, one thing that I've learned to do is to count down 5 seconds. Like, what do you want to do? And you have, if you count down for 5, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How do you think like teachers in elementary did it when they were trying to get your attention? All of a sudden, this lady in the front of the classroom is fucking counting down from 5, and you're like, oh shit, like something's about to happen. Like, that's you. So you have those 5 seconds to make a decision, yes or no, whether you want to do it. Usually, when you make that decision, it could, I mean, from what I've made, it's benefited me. There has been like some downsides, but there's been more benefits than downsides. So I think that people need to take that into consideration when getting out of their comfort zone and
taking risks.
Yeah, exactly. It goes back, going back to what you're saying about, you know, just doing it.
Yeah. You said, you know, to make that decision. I remember at the last place I was working at, you know, I gained a lot of knowledge, you know, certain things that I can't wait to implement into the show. But we'll save that for another time. But one of the things I will say is one of the things they shared with me that stuck with me was 95% of the population right now works for the 5% that didn't give up, that wasn't scared to, you know, keep failing and keep trying. So, you know, to kind of dig deeper into that, what that's saying is like most people right now are working and doing things that maybe they're not totally happy with or would rather be doing something else. And they're working for somebody that owns that business or owns that company, wherever it is that you're working at. You know, how do you think that those people got there? Those people, of course, did essentially what most people are scared of doing because of failure or whatever the reason is. These people are having who knows how many employees work for them because they built something and got to where they are now because they weren't scared to try and they weren't scared to fail. You know, they perfected it. After a while, somewhere along the line, I'm pretty sure the people that own businesses and own companies right now failed a couple of times, but it just takes one more time. It just takes one dub for you to be successful. Exactly. And once you're successful, like, that's it. No one can take that away from you. So what I'm saying is, like, with that statistic, are you going to be someone who works for somebody else and accepts the fact that, like, you know, you're going to be that 95% that works for the 5%? Or are you going to try to be that 5% that didn't, you know, stop trying?
Yeah.
And that all goes back to mindset, you know, like, think about it. What is your mindset? What are you going to allow yourself to happen?
Going back to what you're saying about, like, the distinction between wealthy people and poor people, one thing I heard that Jordan Belfort said, or like the Wolf of Wall Street guy, he said the difference between wealthy people and poor people is that wealthy people, they act in the face of fear, while wealthy people, they run away from it. So obviously,
poor people.
I mean, what did I say?
You said wealthy people run away from it.
Oh my bad. Oh, no, they don't run away. Wealthy people act in the face of fear, poor people run away from it.
Yeah.
And why do you think wealthy people have so much to gain? Because they got past that. They got past, you know, the fear of failure, basically. So I think, like, that was a good point that you made, like, with the distinction between the two.
Yeah, and I mean, what we mean by this, you know, we're not trying to say that we're wealthy or anything because we have this mindset. What we're trying to say is we're changing. We want to be wealthy. We want to be in those positions. So because of that, we are rewiring our brain to think like that. And I mean, when you do that, we're setting ourselves up to win. You know, it's not because we think we're better than everyone else. That's why we're doing and talking about this. We're doing this because this is really what we believe in, and this is where we're trying to go, you know. So, I mean, how many people can really say that they're trying? Excuse me, I choked a bit, choked on my words. But how many people can honestly say that you know, that they're working this hard for what they want? Yes, people. I mean, everyone's situation is different, right? Like, people can be working for a degree. Some people can be trying to start a business, or just might be working hard at work already. But what I'm trying to say is, how many people are working for what they really want right now? How many people are just comfortable where they're at and just going with the flow, running the rat race? And how many people are doing necessarily kind of like what we're doing and just chasing
something,
building that connection,
trying to build something, building connections, and, you know, doing what they actually want to do in life?
I think a lot of people, they end up working for the paycheck that they get on Friday, and they're able to get the $150, you know, shoes, or they're able to buy all the rounds of drinks that night. You know, I just, not in a bad way. Yes, go out, have fun, spend, because if you spend, you're rewarding yourself for all the hard work that you did. But just don't splurge, is what I mean. Like, if you're happy with that 9-to-5 job, to each their own, because some people, they're working in something that they love to do. But I just think that if you have the potential to be making more of yourself and making more money in the process while also helping other people, why wouldn't you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm really excited for the future of this show, because I just want to go into depth and all these things that we're talking about. Like, I want to talk about so much about these, like, helping people with spending habits and, you know, what to do on their free time. Like, we can go so
there's a lot to
depth.
talk about.
There really is a lot to talk about, and I'm excited for the people that are listening, because y'all are really gonna,
you're gonna learn something.
You guys are gonna get some gems for sure. But
Gems.
yeah, mindset. Why don't we kind of finish off this topic by kind of giving some suggestions, some little things that people can start doing today by just simple suggestions. Like, I'll start, you know, like, one thing that we kind of talked about that's so simple, but it really does help, is I did something so simple as, like, changing my wall screen, you know, my screensaver on both my lock screen and my home screen. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever you do that, it kind of just feels like you flip the page in the book.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're starting a new chapter.
You're a whole new person.
Because I mean, let's be real, everyone is addicted to their phone. Like, you're looking at your phone a huge chunk of your day. So when you kind of get accustomed to seeing the same wallpaper over and over again, it's like you're kind of in the same routine almost. So switch up your routine, switch up something as simple as like your wallpaper or your playlist, and I mean, it makes a difference, trust me. It feels like you start a new chapter, so if you start a new chapter, make some other changes, you know? So I'm just saying that's something super simple that you can do, that it's like a domino effect. You do one thing and it's gonna
everything
make
else
you do,
starts happening.
Yeah, because when you change one thing in your routine, it's like, well, man, I might as well change this too. Like, let's start a new productive and healthy routine. So that's just something that I think works, that I've done personally.
Yeah. One thing that I've done that's really benefited me is probably that thing that I mentioned earlier, which is counting down to 5. Counting down to 5, like, I remember I'd wake up in the morning and I hear my alarm go off and I didn't want to get the fuck about it. Like, I'd wake up at 4 in the morning to go to the gym at 5, because, like, I'd be groggy for that whole hour, but I was getting up. So what I would do is I hear my alarm clock go off and I just, like, count down from 5, like, alright, but 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and at 1 I had to think, like, alright, are you gonna fucking sit in this bed and, you know, still be, you know, you're complaining about the shape that you're in, but you're not doing anything about it. So what I would do is I'd put myself in that situation, like, okay, if you say no, you're fucking, I'm sorry, but you're a wimp. That's what I would tell myself. And it's also been in other situations where I've thought about approaching people, and I would just psych myself out, and I think, like, no, they're gonna think I'm weird, all this stuff. But then I count down from 5, and by the time I got to 3, I was like, dude, fuck it, like, you're just fucking go. Yeah, you're gonna want to say yes anyway. So, and it's helped me out, and it's made a lot of, like you said, like, it's built connections that I start to think about, man, if I didn't make that decision, like, I probably would have still been struggling with the situation that I had I not made that connection to where they could help me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You, Frank, what would you do?
Well, honestly, it's just I suggest like surrounding yourself with positive people, like good energy, man. That only attracts more good energy, and that'll just have a better, more beneficial outcome.
Yeah, for your mindset. Honestly, the people you surround yourself with has a big difference. A big impact. On your mindset. You know, are you surrounding yourself around people that are creative and that are, you know, pushing you to do what you want to do in life, or are you surrounding yourself around people that are just constantly gossiping or spreading negativity or bringing you down? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like try and take a step back and, you know, look at the big picture, like what's actually going on right now in your life that you know for a fact needs to change, but have not done anything about it.
I think it's a good point what he made, because if you think about it, people think that the quality of a friendship depends upon how long you've known them. If you know a person for 10 years, you think, oh, dude, like, that's my homie, like, that's my ride or die. It's like, yes, but have you all grown together for those 10 years? Have you all benefited from each other's relationship? So I think people need to focus less on quantity, the amount of people you have, but focus more on the quality. Because I've met people that I've only known them for maybe like a year, 10 months, that, you know, that have really stuck with me more than people that, more than the people that I grew up with, you know, from elementary. So I think that's also a big, surrounding yourself with the right people plays a big factor in your life, for sure.
Yeah, that you couldn't have said it any more perfect. Quality over quantity, and
Basically, yeah.
you know, that whole where you're saying that you can be friends with someone since your childhood, but like, you know, they might not be people that you're growing with anymore, or the people that are, you know, necessarily good to be around. So that's a big, if you can make that distinction in your life as who's who, you know, the people you're surrounding yourself with, you're guaranteed to make a big difference on your mindset and the way you live your life. So that's just, just,
those are just a few little tweaks that you
yeah,
can put
like
in
you
there.
don't have to make some big change in your life. Like, do it slowly, do it one step at a time.
At
Maybe
your own
do
pace.
one thing that we said, and maybe later on tackle another thing we said. But just doing something now, like we're saying, like just do it, you know, and I promise you it's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you just implement these little things, you'll begin to notice. Little things will start happening to where, like, it just,
And people
you know, it's
know.
destiny.
People know what needs to be changed and what doesn't. It's just a matter
They're
of,
afraid of change.
like I'm saying, people get comfortable where they're at and they kind of allow things to happen.
It all goes back to fear. Fear is seen as the enemy, but fear doesn't become the enemy once, like, you've conquered it over and over and over again. It's just like another thing that you get to, like, build past, basically.
So I'll go ahead and end it off by once again just saying, just do it, y'all. Just do it. Make that change, all right?
100%.
So, current events, 21 Savage. What do y'all have to say about that? What's your thoughts?
Free my man 21, bro. Like, that's kind of fucked up.
Honestly, it was, well, 21's recent album, props to him. It was good, everything. But this thing came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting any of this.
It was kind of a big shock to me because I just bought VIP tickets to go see this man at the island, and then I find out that he's like about to get deported. I'm like, what? Like, it's a sad situation, right? Like,
That's
I wish this man like to be free or whatever. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest. My initial reaction was like, what's gonna happen with the concert? Because I mean, I just kind of had like a little selfish shot right there. But yeah, like for real, free my man's 21 Savage. I think it's kind of a. I mean, I don't know all the details. I know a little bit of what I read, but I don't know what the real truth is. You know.
Yeah.
So.
I'll be honest, the people on Twitter, from what I've seen, they've made jokes about it, and I'll be honest, sometimes that stuff, it can be funny, but just like, there's a fine line. But also, I think people kind of tie in the two of 21 getting deported and immigrants getting deported, or, you know, family members to some people getting deported. And I think people think, you know, deportation is deportation at the end of the day. Someone doesn't have that freedom anymore. So I think in any situation, it is important, you know, and I think there's a line that people shouldn't cross when it comes to, you know, making jokes, because this guy, he has a family here, he has kids here, you know, how can, you know, it's hard to walk away from that stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to make this like a big political controversial like conversation, but you brought up immigration, and it's true. Like, look at how much attention 21 Savage has gotten for this issue, but how many people are actually doing anything about it?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of goes back to the immigration thing. Like, why did 21 Savage blow up like this? But like everything else that's happening with immigration and ICE, like it hasn't. There's not as much attention on
Mm-hmm.
it as this one individual got. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve this attention, because we do want him to get out, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like he's not the only one that's gone through this, you know. So that's kind of the way I was thinking about it too. Is like,
I just hope this guy gets out.
for
Yeah.
sure,
He's pretty dope.
21 Savage is probably like one of my top artists right now. I was really excited when I'm telling you, like when I got the ticket, and then when I heard that, I was like, no, like honestly,
his ass album was fire.
His new album was fire. I liked it a lot.
I'll be honest with you,
So
I never. I'll be honest,
I
I never like was really a big fan of 21 before this album.
Yeah, honestly,
I hear some things, but I decided like this guy, he's back to like money and mindset. This guy's good with his money and his mindset. Why not like see what he's about?
Mhm.
And his new album was freaking.
It was
fire.
I like, of course, a lot went hard. His verse, J. Cole's verse was, it was dope. We were talking about how, you know, he was addressing 6ix9ine, and the way I initially interpreted it, it was like he was kind of like sympathetic for his situation, but you were telling me, right, that.
Oh yeah, I had heard of a different explanation where he says to pray for 6ix9ine, but I read that he means it in a way to where he now has to reflect in a cell about his rise to fame. Like, was it all worth it, type of thing. Like, praying for him, like, see if it's all. Yeah, you don't need to.
Whoa.
Because, like, that's the thing is that, well, like, a side note here, but my thing was that I try to make it
Natural.
Yeah, to where.
Yeah, but it's a cough. I don't want to like cough into your ears.
Yeah.
I just did it.
Well, we're chilling. But you were talking about like the different interpretation, and you know when you told it to me like that, I kind of think it's better thinking about it like that, because in a way I was kind of like, oh man, like there goes nice J. Cole, you know, like.
You have to think about it. J. Cole, he's kind of like a lyrical genius. Like there's meaning behind what he said. So I understood where that person was coming from about like a different context to it. I was like,
so you're pretty much saying, instead of J. Cole being sympathetic and saying like, oh poor 6ix9ine, he's actually trying to say like, you see, like this is what you get for putting yourself like in that situation.
From what I heard, from what I took from what I heard, from where I heard it.
Mm-hmm. That's what you understood it.
He's basically saying, was it worth it?
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of like it that way better because, like I said, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, there's J. Cole, you know, being sympathetic, being the nice, you know, rapper that he is. But now, like, J. Cole is, look at it this way. I mean, this kind of goes back to mindset. Look at how 6ix9ine's mindset and persona and attitude was, and look at how J. Cole's attitude, persona, and mindset has been since the beginning. You know, so yeah, J. Cole, this is a perfect example of mindset because 6ix9ine had, you know, this, you know, gangster persona or whatever that, you know, whatever. You know how he got to the top. And 6ix9ine, J. Cole has been pretty humble, has been, you know, a good lyrical rapper, you know, taking his time to perfect his art.
Exactly.
And look at the positions that they're in now. So, like, having a good mindset and doing things the right way gets you further in the long run, instead of, like, the way 6ix9ine did it, having a big success at the beginning, but look where he's at now, you know? So, which one would you rather have?
I just didn't think he kind of marketed himself right. He just didn't. He went for the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
I think. Like, cause he knew that wasn't his thing.
Sorry, I needed a rip.
Jesus Christ, John.
You're a Jewel guy? You're a Jewel fan?
He's a little Nick
Damn,
fan.
that looked kind of sick. It looks like we're in a video.
I used to be a Drew guy, but you know, I mean, I hopped on the Drew wave when it first, you know, became a thing, but
We fucking started that trend at our school, bro.
yeah,
Or-
honestly,
Not a trend, but like
I
like to call it a pandemic, bro. Cause they got a pandemic, bro. Like they fucking, dude, like they
You
got
mean like
so
an
like
epidemic?
an epidemic. Okay, whatever. We
Nice,
fucking
nice.
edit that shit out.
an epidemic.
An epidemic. Yeah. Fucking.
So no, yeah, what you're trying to say, bro, is like basically, I mean,
Did y'all start the problem over there?
Yeah, we did.
tell us what happened, Frank.
So basically, one of our friends, he hopped on the Jewel wave like a little bit earlier than us, and he showed it all to us. At first, we were kind of skeptical, and we didn't like it. Like
I didn't like it, bro.
Fucking hurt your
I
throat,
did
bro.
not like the Drew at first.
Yeah, and so like some of us that like kind of grew on it. So like
You hopped on the wave.
yeah, we hopped on the wave. We copped one, and we just started fucking juuling around. We even took that shit to school. We were like fucking like real fiends.
Bro, we used to like vape during class and stuff. We thought we would go to the restrooms and stuff.
Well, I go to the restroom when I was trying to hit my wax. When I was in fucking class, I was ripping the jewel and just like inside my backpack, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, bro, the Jewel was cool for a while, but my thing with the Jewel is like, it only has certain flavored pods, and you're limited to those flavors. And to be honest, like, those pod flavors are kind of harsh, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, they're kind of
So
gross.
I got grossed out after a while getting the same flavor over and over and over again, because I mean, there's only a handful that are actually good. The rest of them are kind of garbage.
Yeah.
And I switched over to this smock, the smock Novo, and it's pretty much like jewel shaped, but you can just fill it up with whatever
Yeah. So
Is it?
whatever juice you want.
it's a little bit smaller, more compact.
I have a mix of juices right now because I have 3 different juices. So I have a blend of a salt nick juice and 2 CBD juices. So it has like pretty good flavor.
And do you?
And I never get tired
do
of
you
it
feel the
either.
difference? Like why do you mix the two?
Well, the difference, let me tell you right now, the Jewel, for one, is pretty, has a lot of nick. Well, actually, it doesn't even have that much, but you can really, like, feel the buzz when you hit a Jewel.
Yeah.
It even has a kind of a harsh throat hit. But, like, this one that I have it all mixed and stuff, it doesn't really have a harsh throat hit. And I don't really get a buzz to say because there's not a lot of nicotine in it. But what there is a lot of is CBD, and I sometimes feel the effects depending on how much I vape, right? But I'll feel that relaxed feeling, and if I'm trying to go to bed, I'll hit this thing pretty hard just to help me go to sleep or whatever. And
For sure, CBD has helped me with sleeping.
Yeah, it helps with sleeping. It helps with a lot of things. I mean, we can go into it, right? But like we said, we'll save.
Yeah,
it for
we'll save all the good gems for each and every one of
Later
this little
video.
thing.
But just for like a quick broad, like when I'm vaping this thing, I don't really feel a lot, so I can vape a lot of it and not feel anything. So I mean, I'll hit it just whenever I feel like I want to hit it.
Imagine when marijuana gets legalized, how much
Soon.
this will be like. I feel like, look at that red. What is that? Italy.
Italy.
You see it like green,
Oh, yeah.
white, red.
Okay, yeah. Dude.
Oh well, I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's
I was like, Italy. What the
no. But with the legalization of weed, I feel like that's gonna happen
Mhm.
in the near future. So
Well,
I feel
yeah,
like
people already
everybody's
making
gonna
moves
be
on that right now. Like
I mean,
Congress and shit. They're,
Yeah, I was
Congress and shit.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
he's right. There's
yeah,
several
but
things
it's just
that
what you
are.
said, it-
I gotta
Congress and
put
shit.
and shit.
There's several things right now that are being looked at. You know, I don't know exactly. I don't want to say the wrong. I want to say like bills, I guess, that are being introduced that are related to marijuana that could potentially change the way
Weed is regulated.
it's regulated and scheduled. But I mean, a lot of things are up in the air right now. I can honestly say, like, within maximum 5 years, it's gonna be different.
Oh, for sure.
And
Especially where we're at, bro.
especially where we're at, it's gonna be different. I mean, I don't know how different it's gonna be compared to states like California and Colorado,
But that's why we're trying to make moves right now, so we can open up a dispensary.
Yeah, because when the time comes, we want to be ready. You know, that's why we started this early. You know, this couldn't have been a perfect time. We can get into the details later, but this is the perfect time to be getting into this industry. Yeah. And like how we said, getting into the industry without really getting into the industry. But, you know, things...
Getting into it in the legal way.
Yeah.
The legalist way that we can.
The right way.
The right way, exactly. At least we're right, you know. We never know. We can expand to other places and get started sooner. But I mean, we'll see.
We'll see how that goes.
But yeah, legality wise, it's still very illegal. So y'all watch out.
Yeah, especially where we're at. People from here, like, watch out. Bops are on our ass,
bro. All of y'all buying cartridges, all I have to say is be careful, bro. That is highly illegal, and even though it is, you know, the same thing as marijuana, those cartridges are worse. So for all of y'all that are on that
legally,
way, just
it's
be careful.
a felony.
Yeah. So just,
well, like if you had a little 2 G's on you, they'll give you a little misdemeanor. That's what happened. They'll slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk too much about this, but just letting y'all know, like, be careful out there because while we do partake and we do enjoy it, just know to be careful. We're not saying to go do it. We're not recommending this. You know, these.
But we are recommending this.
No, Frank, we're not telling people to go do this. We're just saying, like, be careful because of the legality.
If you so happen to be doing it.
Yeah, if you so happen. But I mean, other than that, I'd say 5 years before there's big change. I mean, it could happen sooner. I think it might actually.
It could happen next year.
By 5 years. I'm saying for sure by 5 years.
Yeah. Something had to have.
I mean, we've been saying 5 years since last year, so even 4 years really. So
yeah, progression.
I can say 4 years. I think something different will happen around here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot more change, especially like.
And besides, in 4 years, you know, we'll be. Perfectly legal to go and buy it at a dispensary if that's the case here. So, I mean,
that'd be perfect.
I'm in no rush, you know. I'll wait 4, 3 years, whatever, 5 years for it to happen because I know when it does happen, I'll just be ready to go and enjoy it. So, I'm chilling.
All right, so we are currently recording this on February 6th, Wednesday, hump day.
Yeah.
What did y'all think about what happened on Sunday, which was the Super Bowl? Yeah.
One word.
Patriots and Rams.
Boring.
Definitely.
Extremely boring.
Garbage.
It wasn't garbage.
This is what I have to say. Like, both teams worked very hard to get there. Okay, they did. I'm acknowledging the work ethic and the hard work that they put in to get to that to there. But if I'm being honest, which I'm always gonna be honest, it was a boring game.
Yeah.
I mean, even the halftime show, I was really hyped for the halftime show, and even that was kind of boring.
Travis kind of. Sorry, my dude, you kind of let me down.
But
I don't know. I think me, I feel like I can't say much. Like, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like we see it on TV differently than what they do. You know, so
yeah, because like in reality, like all of them are down there busting their ass.
I think it was a real defense type of game. You know, no one could, you know, really connect that many times.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I only saw the first half and then the halftime show, and then I didn't even watch the second half. So I can't say that I saw the whole game and that their work ethic. But what I can say is, like I said, you know, they got there for a reason. And I mean, I know the outcome. I know Tom Brady won. And even though I personally would have had LA win, it's kind of like I'm not mad at the fact that the Patriots won because it just shows.
They deserved it.
It goes to show how good they are, really. Like, they deserved it. They worked hard for it each time they won. And, I mean, what they built there is, like, a dynasty, pretty much. Like, we're going to be looking back at this, like, 5-10 years from now when the NFL is completely different and there's new players. And we're going to think, like,
Brady's not
Tom Brady, like...
We grew up with him being, like, the quarterback of the Patriots.
Yeah.
I feel like...
He is the GOAT of our generation.
Yeah. And that's, like, saying... In 5 to 10 years from now when LeBron's not playing in the NBA, like
We're also in that guy's prime right now.
We're gonna be
Think about
looking
people
back.
who saw Jordan as like LeBron.
Exactly.
You know what
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just kind of grew up watching him, and I mean, it's kind of a blessing. You know, a lot of people hate on him, but I mean, he is what he is.
You have
He's
to
a
give
GOAT.
credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I mean,
the way
that
they
guy
do
just,
things.
his mind's right, dude. Like, if you see the interviews, you can see him, like, he's perfectly focused on the Super Bowl. Nothing's gonna distract him. He's just gonna go, like, right in and
He's got a passion for what he does.
Bro, the commercial where the anniversary or whatever, where
What
they're
commercial?
fighting for the fumble.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was dope, and Brady
I think that was the
taking off
highlight.
all his rings, and I was like, damn, like look at that go, like flexing his rings in this commercial. That's like boss status right there.
And what did y'all think about the commercials also?
The commercials,
They're-
well, like I said, I didn't watch the whole thing, but from what I did see, they're
pretty,
chilling,
yeah.
I guess. There was a lot of beer commercials. I mean, y'all know how I feel about that, but
oh, the Game of Thrones one with Bud Light, that one's pretty lit.
yeah, that
I
one
got
was
the Zoe Kravitz one.
Yeah, she can fucking suck a
the
dick.
one also where they impersonated, or I don't know if it was the actual guy, but they impersonated the Dos Equis guy, or the Stella. I don't know how you pronounce that beer, but Stella something. It had like a bunch of celebrities, and
I know which one you're talking about now.
the Dos Equis guys came on. He's like, I forgot what he said, but it was
Yeah,
cool to see
I
that
don't
little
know.
cameo.
Mm.
I wanna see that one.
Yeah, but other than that, Super Bowl, it was dope. I got to spend it with some different people, but I'm hoping that everyone listening to this enjoyed their Super Bowl and got to spend time with their friends or family.
If you didn't watch it, you didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss anything,
I hope
like,
you're
you're
doing something
good.
better.
Whatever
Yeah.
you thought was gonna happen, happened. Brady won.
Yeah.
Basically.
But other than that, that's pretty much it. I can honestly say that we can wrap up this episode. I think it was pretty good. What do y'all think? Any last comments?
I'm just excited for what's to come. The people that we're gonna have on here. It'll be a great learning opportunity for us, for the people listening.
Yeah, the audience and stuff.
I mean, like what more could you want than a conversation with someone who's at a level to where you want to be at?
Mm-hmm.
So once you get to that level, you just bigger and bigger people.
Yeah, you're more prepared. For
Yeah.
it.
Frank, anything else?
Just keep your mindset straight. Stay trippy, guys.
Yeah, this is, I want to end up on these comments. Like, you can give us, 45 minutes to an hour worth of your time by just listening and gaining something, or you can continue doing, what you usually do, whether it's something else, watching something else, or
Playing
just
video
wasting your
games,
time,
Fortnite,
exactly.
all that kind of shit.
I mean, you can go back and watch other people play games, or go watch a makeup tutorial, whatever it is you do with your time.
Or
I'm
you
just-
can actually go and play the games and like do that yourself.
Yeah,
Become a
or
professional.
you can listen to us and like learn something and maybe make a change in
Implement
your
these
life.
things. See, let us know if what we tell you is
like
working
change.
or not.
Yeah, reach
That's
out
how
to us.
anything.
we're gonna know if what we're doing is even
Yeah.
helping you out. That's what we want to do. Because
Yeah.
you all are helping us in return.
I would like everyone to reach out to us, at that email I dropped earlier. Go ahead and shoot us an email at officialstoneheads@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And send us questions, send us feedback. Let us know if you want to remain anonymous or shout you out. Just, give us some feedback, pretty much. We want to hear what y'all think, and we plan to make episodes at least once a week. We're barely starting off, so we're going to try to stick to that schedule. So once a week, just expect something by like Saturdays or something, We're going to try and keep this a regular thing. We're definitely going to take it
It's
seriously.
gonna be exciting.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Talking about all this stuff.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So other than that, that's pretty much it today, Stoneheads. Thank y'all for tuning in to Stoneheads TV, and we'll catch y'all next week.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Deuces.